Good afternoon to all. This is Rama Sruthi from TTWREIS Girls 𝗧𝗧. So, before going into our topic, let us do some activity, and I'm going to ask you few questions about this wheel. So, you can see numbers from 1 to 8 in this wheel. So, now I'm going to ask you few questions. Ready to answer? So, what is the probability of getting the number 2 in this wheel? And what is the chance of getting the pink colored numbers in this wheel when we rotate it? And what is the chance of getting heads when we tossed a coin? And what is the chance of getting 3 when we rolled a dice? And what is the chance of getting a spade when we picked a card from the deck of cards? Okay, now let us go into the topic. Before that, I am going to tell you something about probability. So, in our daily life, we listen many words like, it may rain today, or it's mostly likely that our team win the match. In all these sentences, there is some uncertainty and randomness. This is because we are not sure about the result. To measure this result, we use the probability chapter. So, probability helps us to find the uncertainty and find the chance of occurrence. So, you might understand what we are going to discuss now. Yes, we are going to discuss about probability. Are you ready? So, let us start a lesson with an experiment. So, in this experiment, we'll toss a coin. So, we all know when we toss a coin, right? So, mostly we see this in cricket matches. So, in cricket matches, to take a decision, they toss the coin and they decide who is going to do the batting first or bowling. So now tell me, how many possibilities are there in this coin? There were 2 possibilities, and they are heads and the tails. So you understood about the coin, right? So now I am going to ask you a question. Try to answer it. So what is the probability of getting a heads in a coin? So a coin has 2 possibilities. The heads and the tails. In this, we have just single heads. So, we have one chance to get heads, right? So, if we repeat this activity for 100 times, what is the chance of getting heads and what is the chance of getting tails? So, it is, you might guess it is 50% heads and 50% tails, but it was wrong. It is approximately somewhat different, like 45% heads, 55% tails, or 55% heads, 45% tails, and so on. So, here we are telling approximately, not surely, okay? So, if we repeat this for 1000 times, 10,000 times, and million times, what is the chance of getting a heads and a tails? So, approximately, it is 50% heads and 50% tails. It means 500,000 heads and 500,000 tails, right? So, 50% can be also said as 50 by 100. Furtherly, it was known as 1 by 2. If you observe this fraction form, there is a small trick in it. So, we can find the probability formula from it. So, as I said, for this heads, there are single heads in the coin. So, for the first, the numerator one is the favorable outcome for us, and the denominator was the total outcomes of the coin. So, by this, we have been understood what is the probability formula. What is the probability formula? Probability equals to number of favorable outcomes by total number of outcomes. So, I think you might understood what I said. So, now let us know what is probability. So, probability refers to the possibility of an event occurrence, and probability is the mathematics of chance, and probability equals to number of favorable outcomes by total number of outcomes. So, probability of heads equals to 1 by 2 and probability of tails equals to 1 by 2. Here, getting a heads and getting a tails are known as events. So, I am repeating it, listen it carefully. Getting a heads and getting a tails are events in the previous activity, okay? So, now let us do another activity with the die. Before doing this activity, so imagine that I am playing snake and ladder and I need the number 5 to win the game. So what is the chance of getting a number 5 in a dice? I am repeating it. What is the chance of getting 5 in the dice? So first tell me, how many outcomes are there in the dice? There were 6 outcomes and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So therefore the total outcomes are 6. But in this whole thing we have just single 5. So it means our favorable outcomes are 1 and the total outcomes are 6. So according to our probability formula, so the probability is 1 by 6. That is nothing but 16.67%. So now let us do another problem. So what is the chance of getting an even number when we roll the dice? So tell me, what are the even numbers first? The even numbers are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 and so on. So, but in the die we have just the numbers from 1 to 6. In this 1 to 6, what are the even numbers? They are 2, 4 and 6. So the favorable outcomes here are 3 and the total outcomes the die has a 6. So according to our probability formula, getting an even number is equals to 3 by 6. That is nothing but 1 by 2. So now before going into the impossible event, let us discuss about this for once. So one day while we have been completed our maths exam and we were walking in our corridor. So my both friends Satvika and Amaksha were discussing about the marks. So we written the exam for 20 marks and Satvika said, I did many mistakes in the exam, so I may get the marks from 11 to 15. So Amaksha thought it deeply and said, Satvika, what did you say? Please repeat it. Then Satvika said, I may get the marks from 11 to 15. So Amaksha suddenly said, what is the probability of getting the marks from 11 to 15? Then Satvika thought deeply and said, the probability of getting the marks from 11 to 15 is 1 by 4. So is it correct? Do you support her answer? I'll verify it. Please listen it carefully. So the total outcomes here are 20 because it is a 20 marks exam. And the favorable outcomes for Satvika are 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 because she mentioned the situation that she may get the marks from 11 to 15. It means the total favorable outcomes are 5 and the total outcomes are 20. So according to our probability formula, it is 1 by 4. That is nothing but if we cancel 5 by 20, it is equals to 1 by 4. So I think you have been understood about the probability solving methods, right? So now we will apply this situation for an impossible event. Are you ready? Yeah. So the next day while we are discussing about our exam, Amaksha said, I may get marks 21 out of 20. Just think, is 21 marks possible? Is 21 marks possible here? No, because it is a 20 marks exam. So how can she get 21 marks? So here 21 is impossible. So next we are going to discuss about impossible event. So I am going to give you a question. Think it and tell me what are the favorable outcomes here. So probability of getting a number 7 when we roll a die. So think it, getting a number 7 in a die. So totally there were 6 outcomes thereof from 1 to 6. And where this 7 comes from? 7 don't lies in this die. So the favorable outcomes are 0 and the total outcomes in this die are 6. So according to our probability formula, it is 0 by 6. We already know 0 by something is equals to 0. So understand this concept properly. So if we get a probability of an event equals to 0, then it is known as impossible event. And next let us discuss about sure event or a certain event. So impossible event opposite is sure event. It means if it is 0, here it is 1. So I am giving you an example. Listen it carefully. So probability of getting a number less than 7 when we roll a die. Listen carefully. what is the probability of getting a number less than 7 when we roll a die? So here each and every number in this die are less than 7 and the total outcomes in this die are also 6. And the favorable outcomes are 6 because every number here is less than 7. And according to our probability formula, it is 6 by 6. That is nothing but 1. So understand this and don't confuse for impossible event and sure event. Okay. So if a probability of an event is 1, then it definitely known as sure event or a certain event. Okay. So what is the range of probability? So the range of probability is in a number from 0 to 1. That means it lies between 0 to 1 including 0 and 1. That is simply said as 0 less than or equals to P of E less than or equals to 1. As we discussed earlier, P of getting a H is equals to 1 by 2. That is nothing but 0.5 and P of getting 5 in a die equals to 1 by 6. That is nothing but 0.167. So, and P of E equals to 0, then it is known as impossible event, means it never happened. And P of E equals to 1, then it is known as sure event or a certain event. So it is being bored, right? So after completion of this complementary event, we will play with cards. Okay. So complementary event. Before discussing about complementary event, just recall what is the experiment we did with this die for the first time. So we did the experiment of getting 5 when we roll this die. So for that the probability of an event equals to 1 by 6. So now tell me, what is the probability of not getting a 5? What is the probability of not getting a 5? So that is equals to, except 5, how many numbers are there in the die? They are the numbers from 1, 2, 3, 4 and 6. Here 5 was not countable. So there were 5 numbers and the total outcomes are 6. So 5 by 6 is the probability of not getting an even number. So are you thinking why she was telling about these two and as a complementary event? Just wait for some time. There is a simple connection between those two. So here the probability of getting 5 and not getting 5, if we add these both, we get the sum as 1. So let us try here, is it correct or not? Okay. So 1 by 6 plus 5 by 6 is equals to 6 by 6. That is nothing but 1. So by this we can tell that P of E plus P of E complement is equals to 1. So P of E complement is equals to 1 minus P of E. So now the most interesting topic is playing with the deck of cards, right? So we all know what are the deck of cards. Yes. So in this deck of cards, how many cards are there? There were 52 cards in this deck of cards and there were 4 different shapes. They are the hearts, the diamonds, the clubs and the spades. So for each symbol there are 13 cards and in these 13 cards there were 3 face cards. The 3 face cards are Jack, King and Queen. Listen carefully, the 3 face cards are Jack, King and Queen. So including these 3, the total number of cards in the deck of cards are 52. So for each symbol we have 13 cards. So let us do an application with this. Are you ready? Yeah. So tell me, what is the probability of getting a diamond card? So here the diamond cards are 13. So if here we need only the diamond cards, except the diamond cards we no need anything. So here the diamond cards are 13 and the total cards are 52. According to our probability formula, it is 13 by 52. That is nothing but 1 by 4. So now tell me, what is the probability of not getting a diamond card? What is the probability of not getting a diamond card? We can solve this in 2 types. So first one as everything and the second one was using the formula. So first I am going to tell you how we can solve this simply. Okay. So except the diamond cards, what are the cards in the deck of cards? There are three type of cards. There are hearts, spades and clubs. So for each cards there are 13 cards. So it means 13 into 3, that is nothing but 39. So the total number of cards in a deck of cards are 52. So 13 by 52, that is nothing but 3 by 4. So the next one is with using the formula. So here we need to know what is P of naughty, means what is not getting a diamond card. Just we know what is a diamond card. So we need to apply this result to the formula. So our formula is P of E plus P of E naught is equals to 1, right? So P of E is equals to 1 by 4. So if we transpose this 1 by 4 to the other, so it becomes 1 minus 1 by 4 is equals to 3 by 4. So do you check what are the differences? There are no differences here and here, means with the normal formula and with solving it simply, both are equal. So we can solve the problem with using the formula also. So now let me ask you few questions about this topic. So by this wheel I am going to ask you few questions. Okay. So now I am going to ask you few questions. Okay. So in this wheel we can see the numbers from 1 to 8, and if we spin this wheel, what is the chance of getting an even number in this wheel? I am asking once again, if we rotate this wheel, what is the chance and what is the probability of getting an even number in this wheel? And other question, what is the probability of getting an odd number in this wheel? And what is the probability of getting a prime number in this wheel? So now let us recall what we have studied from the first. So it means the key points. Let us recall them. So first we studied what is the probability. So probability means, and probability refers to the possibility of an event occurrence, and probability equals to number of favorable outcomes by total number of outcomes, and P of E is equals to 1 by 2 in the coin experiment, and P of getting a 5 is equals to 1 by 6 in the second experiment. So like this, if we see in every experiment, the number was not increased from 1 and not decreased from 0. So it means 0 less than or equals to P of E less than or equals to 1. And if the probability of an event is equals to 0, then it is known as impossible event. And the probability of an event equals to 1, then it is known as a sure event or a certain event. So next we have studied about a complementary event, right? So complementary event is if P of E plus P of naughty is equals to 1, then it is known as complementary event. So anyway, if we try this, we definitely get 1 for the same event. So in the first example, it is to find the E, and in the second example, not the E and except all. Okay, I think you might understood very clearly. So thank you. Thanks for all for giving this wonderful opportunity, and I also thank to Ronaldo sir and for the TSAT and the higher officials and my principal ma'am, Shakuntala madam, and my maths teachers, Sarita ma'am and Monica ma'am, including with all my teachers. Thank you one and all.